Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. I do have one quick favor before we get to the video that you came here for, and that is very simply this. You see that little red subscribe button below this video? Go ahead, smash that subscribe button. It really does help me. It really does help this channel grow and my audience grow. So go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. And now, here is the video that you came here for. I do want to wrap this segment. Like I said, I'll just throw in a quick break just so you guys can pause, some of you coming into work, whatever. I do want to wrap on Clemson because Clemson, number one team in the country, just absolutely dominated Miami. Final score in that game was 42-17, but again, if you watch the games, and I know you guys did, Miami returned a kick, a blocked kick for a touchdown, so they basically had one offensive touchdown. But when I look back at this game, I think what I would say is essentially what I said on last Thursday's show. I'm not surprised by the result because when I came into this game, I really felt like, if we're being perfectly honest, that I felt like Clemson was not only a more talented team, and not only was Miami a little bit overrated. I mean, look, when you talk about Miami, their best win coming in was against a Louisville team that is now 1-3, okay? And that's no knock on Louisville. They're rebuilding under Scott Satterfield. They went 2-10 2 years ago. But we were building Miami's entire resume off beating Louisville, who has lost every game since, whose only win is against Western Kentucky. And so I thought that not only was Miami severely less talented, but I also believed that Dabo Swinney, for essentially the only time in his career, or in the last couple years, I should say, he had a regular season game where he could play the nobody believes in us card in that locker room. And what I mean by that is that it's been a long time since there's a team in the ACC that people are saying is good enough to hang with Clemson. Now, part of that, maybe that's the Miami mystique. Maybe that's, people wanting Miami to be back more than they actually are. By the way, as it turns out, Miami not back when beating a 1-3 Louisville team does not qualify you as back, okay? But I thought Dabo had a big stylistic and strategic advantage in that he could go into his locker room in a home game and say, fellas, some of those people out there think this team can hang with you. Some of those national media members are calling for a close game. Some of those media members are calling for an upset. You going to let Miami come into our house and dominate us and beat us in our house? That was Dabo's go-to, and I think it worked effectively. I know it worked effectively. That's why I like Clemson, and it's largely what happened. I think you could make the case this was one of Clemson's best performances in the regular season, especially relative to the competition, in a very, very, very long time. On offense, or let's start on defense, because poor De'Aaron King just got annihilated, right? And I think De'Aaron King's a great story, transferred from Houston. And a little bit of a really sad part, his father passed away this year. The Miami program really rallied around him. He's a very talented player, and he was looking like an early season Heisman candidate. But you could tell that he had never seen a defense that big, that fast, that physical, because Miami just annihilated them up front. Miami finishes with 210 yards of total offense. Poor De'Aaron King, 12 of 28 passing for 121 yards. So essentially it's four yards a catch on under 50% completion. So Miami physically dominates, Clemson physically dominates Miami up front on defense. And then on offense, I'm tripping over all sorts of words here. On offense, it was just, the Travis Etienne show. Travis Etienne, senior running back, so special, 149 yards rushing, couple breakaway plays, couple nice catches out of the backfield, and they just completely dominated. And what Saturday night was about for Clemson was about showing the world kind of what we are seeing, what we saw in that Michael Jordan documentary. Remember Michael Jordan documentary? I talked about it a little bit on the last show. How everyone kept trying to create rivals for Michael Jordan. Whether it was Clyde Drexler or Reggie Miller or Patrick Ewing or Charles Barkley or Stockton and Malone, Gary Payton, whoever. Everybody, is this the year the Bulls go down? And every year the Bulls won. And that was Clemson last night was kind of Clemson was Michael Jordan and Miami was Clyde Drexler. The media is trying to create this rival. Oh, Miami's kind of the same. They recruit kind of well. They have a kind of a Heisman Trophy quarterback. And Clemson, it was clear, took that personal. Was just like, no. We are going to show you how much better we are. We are going to dominate. And that is exactly what they did. And when I look at the bigger picture of this game, a couple things. 3 things, really. First one, I think it shows the gap between the top 3 teams in the country, maybe even the top 2, 3, and everybody else. Again, I'm going to give Alabama a pass for Saturday. But I don't think Miami is that bad. Like, I think of the teams that are playing right now, I think Miami's one of the top 10 to 12 to 15 teams in the country. But the gap between them and Clemson is still massive. It's still huge. So that's one. 2, I want to give a quick shout out to Trevor Lawrence. I remember talking about this following the playoff last year with Trevor Lawrence when he really got beat up by Ohio State. And again, part of it goes back to the ACC situation where when you look at the ACC, there simply aren't that many challengers for Clemson on a night-in, night-out basis. And so he got to the playoff, and Ohio State beat him up. If you remember, Sean Wade, his father came on this show a few weeks ago, got ejected for targeting. And Trevor Lawrence really got beat up, bounced back. Every time he took a big hit, got back up, led Clemson to the win in Tempe in that college football playoff game. And I saw a lot of that last night. I saw a lot of it on Saturday night against Miami, where Miami tried to get physical with him. Miami's best defensive player popped for targeting, thrown out of the game. Gave a hard hit to Trevor Lawrence in the head. There was a couple plays where Trevor Lawrence kept the ball on the run. He took some hard hits. Took a huge hit in the pocket where he got the wind knocked out of him. And took a hit to the head again on a touchdown run late in the game. And every time he just got up, smiled, and said, let's get back and play some football. And I loved it because, first of all, with Trevor Lawrence, I think there's this perception that because he's kind of tall and handsome and he's got the long hair and that he's soft. And if you watch Trevor Lawrence, that dude ain't soft, okay? That dude ain't soft. That's one. And I think 2, on top of that, on top of everything else, I think that teams think that they can get in his head, and I think he actually enjoys the physicality of football. I think he enjoys putting down his shoulder and picking up that extra yard. As a matter of fact, I think he should probably do it less. And I love that in this era of college football, and I remember saying this after the playoff, this era of college football where, the players, and I talked about this on last show, but the players, it's so unfair. They're taking a beating and they're getting nothing in return and their life is so tough. Like, it'd be easy for Trevor Lawrence to run out of bounds. It'd be easy for Trevor Lawrence to say, I'm not keeping it on a QB, on a QB keeper. I'm not taking a hit when I'm going to be making, I'm going to sign for $30 million next year and probably make $150, $200 million, probably more than that, probably $500 million over the course of my football career. I'm not taking this hit. But no, Trevor Lawrence loves it. Trevor Lawrence loves getting popped. He loves putting his shoulder down and popping somebody else. So that was one of my takeaways from Saturday. Shout out to Trevor Lawrence. I think he just loves taking hits. I think he loves the physicality of football. And in this day and age, I love to see it. And then the second thing that I took out of this, and this is going to sound crazy, I don't think Clemson played their best game on Saturday. And I don't know if we got any Clemson fans listening. If we do, shout out to you guys. But I'm going to tell you this. When I look back on this game, I thought Clemson at times was a little sloppy. Now, they pulled away late. The final score wouldn't say it. But you look at that box score, you watch the game. First of all, Clemson had 3 kicks blocked, including one that was returned for a touchdown. They had a lot of dumb penalties, 8 penalties for 85 yards, including a couple holding calls that really negated big plays. Trevor Lawrence had a pick early that was overturned because of an offside. So, I'm just saying there was little things that I think Dabo Swinney can go into the film room on Monday and say, you know what, guys, we were good, but we can be even better. And that's the scary thing to me. And that is why I believe right now Clemson should be the favorite. We'll see what Ohio State looks like. But clearly Alabama has some deficiencies on defense. Clearly we're not sure what to expect from Georgia on offense. And so I think when you look at Clemson, they are by far the most balanced on offense with the very talented defense, almost equivalent to Georgia. And I look at them and I say, man, They are, again, not only in the mix, but probably the favorite. Obviously, last year they ended up losing to LSU, but national champions the year before, easily could have won it last year, and I do believe that they're right there, that they are in the short conversation of 2 or 3 teams that can actually win it, and I think they can play with and beat anybody in college football. Miami game on Saturday was that signature win. All right, so I do still have a few more topics that I want to hit on, but as I said, I just think that